And so it all kind of starts when I was 12 and I was getting into my angsty years. And that meant I hated my dad. I thought he was annoying. He had really stupid jokes that he thought were funny. I perceived him as some stupid guy. He had these crazy ideas and he stocked shelves for a living. So I wasn't proud of him and I was not nice to him for a very long time. So when I turned 16, unexpectedly, my dad passed away. And that was the first pain that I felt when it came to remorse and regret, because I knew I had been a bad son. I wasn't nice to him. And so with those thoughts, I kind of had to sit in there but pack it all away because I couldn't do anything about it. And I had to continue to move forward. When I get to college, my first few semesters, I was horrible at college. I was failing my first few semesters, and I started having this idea that the reason I was failing was because of my dad not being alive. I know, really shitty. I said that. But I had this idea that if my dad were still around, I would be some kind of studious, normal student with no problems whatsoever. So that mindset continued. I eventually failed out of college and moved home to Airville. And I moved into this negative depression that was really, I was 20 years old. I was a literal failure. I was dumb, just like I thought my dad was. And it was really upsetting. And I found what I thought the only saving grace to be was moving to Pittsburgh, taking this job in a warehouse and getting tuition reimbursement from it. I thought it was another chance. So I took that opportunity, moved to Pittsburgh. By age 23, I had made some progress, but it had turned into the same job as my dad had, stocking shelves. So at this point, I'm thinking, where is my life going? I'm doing the same job as my dad, and I see him as such a big problem in my life. And I grew this ambition out of that. And it was a very negative ambition, I understand, but it was the goal to not end up like my dad. And we can all say it again, wow, that's shitty. Yeah. But over time, it grew and changed. That ambition was still there. And by 25, I had moved back to York. I was trying college again. And my ambition grew to the point where I was 25 and it was okay that I was serving tables, because I knew that if I worked really hard like I did in Pittsburgh, I could do whatever I wanted in life. So eventually I stopped feeling like such a failure. And more than anything, I finally started to think of my dad in a different light. I stopped blaming him for failing out of college. I knew it was my own fault. And I started to understand where my dad was coming from. The guy was working 6 days a week overnight to support my family and have us have a better life. So that changed, and that brings us to the last few years where I feel like I'm more my dad than ever, and I'm actually happy to say that. I'm happy that we have so many similarities and we are had the same work experience, and I got to share that with him. Just in the past few months, my mom and I were going through some of our old keepsakes, and I found old notebooks that my dad kept his ideas in, which is funny because I have like 8 of those kinds of notebooks. And to see how much alike our brains are in writing things down, it's so amazing to kind of put that all into perspective. So now the only pain that I really have left is the idea that I don't get to share my ideas with him, and vice versa. I don't get to encourage him to do what he always wanted to do in all of those notebooks. I feel closer now with my dad than I ever have before, and I don't get to share that with him like I would like. But I mean, if I'm going to deal with any pain, that's going to be the best pain to deal with.